I really think that after what's happened, this might be his last hurrah as a coach. If you look at his record since winning an NBA championship with Boston, he's only made it to the finals one other time, and he's only made it to the conference finals one other time, both of which he lost. Every other time he's either made it to the semis and lost or the first round and lost. His playoff record since then is below 500. And I love him as a person. He's the nicest guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him multiple times, but I don't see any team hiring him after what he did with Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin in their primes, Joel Embiid, Maxey, and even James Harden. I just can't see him getting another head coaching job, maybe a front office job, but not a head coaching job. And I kind of wanted to know what TJ thought of that, since he's, basically watched him coach his teams for the past 11 seasons.
Obviously I was upset with the way the season ended for the Sixers and how every season was ending with the Clippers. But to try to put a positive spin on this, as Michael Wilbon, I heard say yesterday, they say Doc has the most Game 7 losses in the history of the NBA. Well, that also means that he's doing the job of getting his teams to those Game 7s, which, was something I didn't really think about. And that is very true. And also a lot of these things, to be honest, were not Doc's faults. Chris Paul's ligament issues, the broken fingers, the pulled hamstrings. These are things that the coach can't control. So, do I feel as though he'll get another shot? I don't know. He's 62. I'm not sure. Maybe a front office move might be better for him. I don't really know. I don't wish any ill will towards Doc, of course. As a fan, it's just you get frustrated and you get angry and you have to point the finger at somebody. And so, of course, that's going to be the coach. But I'm not sure. But there is something to be said about getting to all of these Game 7s that you've done enough work as a coach to get your team there. And obviously, coaching these players with so many different individual philosophies in the way they all look at the game, it can't be easy, Suzy. So, I know I was angry yesterday, but I don't want to put it all on Doc. But we know that when the hammer's got to fall, where it's going to fall, and that's going to be the coach.
Yeah, Spencer, thanks again for your call. And I'm just going to chime in on this one really quickly. You play the cards that you're dealt. He had Ben Simmons, so he had that to deal with. He had the ligament. He had James Harden walking up the court the other day. And at the end of the day, you can only handle what you can coach. You can only handle what you can coach. There's a reason why Embiid's playing so well, and I think a lot of it is Doc. I mean, he's got, what does he have, like 16 straight winning seasons? Mm-hmm. I would never, ever, ever gamble against Doc Rivers. That's just not a position I want to be in right now. But I do believe that he will get other options. Mm-hmm. I believe that he will be asked to come back. He can also go do television for a ton of money if he wants. Yeah. He can sit in his pretty house in Malibu and pour tequila. He can do whatever he wants. All I know is this. He's an incredible educator for basketball. He's an incredible ambassador. And he can win. You're right. Okay, I get it. There's a lot of Game 7 losses. But I just think you have to examine, especially in this last playoff run, sometimes your players stop playing for you. Yeah. And you have to examine who's on your team. And I mean, Chris, I don't know how you feel about this, but James Harden was walking up the court half the time. He's got a lot of mercurial players that he's been dealing with.
When it comes to Sixers too, Suzy, and I've said this many times, I put it more on the front office has made, dating back to the day that they traded Moses Malone for Jeff Rulin, the Sixers front office has made some of the most head-scratching moves, I think, in the history of sports, not just basketball. So a lot of that you've got to put on the guys who are, Mikal Bridges, for instance. He was a guy who we drafted who's never missed a game, whose mother was part of the organization, and yet you trade him for a kid who's not even playing anymore. And you tell me this team couldn't have used Mikal Bridges, So I don't know. It's a whole thing with this squad, man. I can't figure out. We don't have enough time in this hour for me to figure it out.
I don't believe we've seen the last of Doc Rivers.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.